Hello everyone, if you're watching, thanks again. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you find this video helpful. In this video, I'm going to clean the idle air control valve. I know in another video I already showed you how to clean the idle air control valve, but in this video it's going to be different. The difference in this video is that I am going to clean the idle air control valve much more thoroughly. I'm going to disassemble the unit and get into the hard to reach areas to thoroughly clean the valve. Not only would opening up this valve allow for a better cleaning, but disassembling the unit can allow for parts replacement. For example, there's a spring that returns the valve, and this spring can be replaced if the unit is opened up. If the spring lost its springiness because of it being old, then it might be a good idea to replace that spring. There's some type of glue that is covering up a plug, and underneath this plug is where the spring and valve is located. In order to get to this screw plug though, the glue needs to be removed. To remove the glue, I started off by putting the unit on a vise. I would recommend to put a piece of cloth around the unit before clamping this down on the vise though. After the unit is secure on the vise, I used a drill to remove some of the glue. When drilling the glue, be careful not to drill all the way through. Make sure not to drill the screw that's underneath all of the glue. If you do drill the actual screw, the head of the screw can be damaged. So just drill enough for the screw to be exposed, so that way a screwdriver can be used to remove the screw. The screw plug is pretty tough to remove because there will be excess glue even after most of the glue is drilled out. Don't be surprised if there's a lot of effort involved on just removing the screw alone. So make sure not to drill the actual screw, because you don't want to make it any more difficult than it already is in removing just that screw. As you continue to drill all of the glue to expose the bolt underneath, you will reach a point where there will be excess or leftover glue. The little bits of pieces of leftover glue is hard to remove with a drill, so I used a chisel and I also used a sharp needle to remove that leftover glue. I got the chisel and I placed it over the little piece of glue that I wanted removed, and I lightly hammered the chisel. Then I used a sharp needle to get to the more smaller areas. Once all done with the glue removal and the bolt is fully exposed, the screw is ready to come off. A flathead screwdriver can be used to remove this bolt by turning it counterclockwise. Just a reminder, the bolt is not the easiest bolt to remove, so be prepared. Hopefully when you remove the bolt, it's not the most difficult bolt to remove, but once it's removed, the internal components will be accessible, such as the spring and valve. The empty hole on the left is where the internals, like the spring and valve, will be located. This is the return spring for the valve. If you're working on an older used idle air control valve, the spring may lose its retention or its strength. Maybe stretching out the spring may help to better seal the valve, or maybe replacing the spring entirely may be the better option. And this is the valve, which controls the airflow in the unit. To clean the inside of the unit, I used a Q-tip. I cleaned around the sides and anywhere I see any debris. This particular idle air control valve is a 3-piece unit. There is one motor on one side and another motor or solenoid on another side. The motor that I am removing is the larger one. I want to expose more of the internals of the unit, and removing the motor will do it. there are two screws holding it down, and once these screws are removed, the motor can easily be detached. Now on to the next solenoid motor to remove is the smaller one. There aren't any separate screws holding this one down, so it's different from the previous motor. The unit itself screws onto the main unit, and so to remove this motor will require a wrench. If you have difficulties removing this one, try putting it on a vise to help hold it down. In my case, I had a hard time removing this one, so I needed a vise to hold it down so that I can unscrew the part with a wrench. And inside of the smaller solenoid motor is a 3-piece part and contains a type of spindle and a spring, so be careful not to lose any of these parts. When all the components on the idle air control valve are detached and all the internals are exposed, the thorough cleaning can begin. I used some carb cleaner and sprayed it into the unit. I sprayed it where there is dirt, and I just wiped dirt or debris anywhere that I saw. I also used a Q-tip to get to that hard to reach area where the valve and spring originally sit. Use the Q-tip to clean the area where the bigger solenoid motor sits. I just cleaned anywhere that I saw dirt. Most especially, I cleaned the internal area of the unit where the airflow is regulated. When all the cleaning is done, it's time to put everything back together. We got to put the internal components back as well, such as the outer components, such as the solenoid motors. To start putting it back together, I reinstalled the spring and screw plug. Just as a reminder, if you manage to find a new internal spring, it would be nice to have a brand new spring installed. Since this is an older unit, the spring may have lost its retention or strength, so a new one would be a plus. The screw plug is straightforward to reinstall. Simply screw the plug back in with a screwdriver. Next is the larger solenoid motor to be reinstalled. To reinstall the component is the exact opposite of steps of removing the part, so reinstall that O-ring that is in between the solenoid motor and the main unit. Then reinstall those two screws, which will require a Phillips screwdriver. These two screws are what hold down the part and is what holds down the two components together. Next is the larger solenoid motor to be reinstalled. To reinstall the component is the exact opposite of steps of removing the part, so reinstall that O-ring that is in between the solenoid motor and the main unit. Then reinstall those two screws, which will require a Phillips screwdriver. These two screws are what hold down the part and is what holds down the two components together. So the last piece to install is the smaller solenoid motor. As a reminder, this one requires a wrench because the entire body is screwed down and is not held on by any separate screws. Again, I used one hand to hold the unit and the other hand was used to hold the wrench to tighten the part. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. You're more than welcome to ask any questions either about this video or any questions that you may have. Thanks again for watching, and I hope that you have a good day.